So welcome everybody to the December 20th, 2021 Southwick Conservation Commission meeting. The meeting is being held via Zoom only and is being recorded. So you have an opportunity to either hang on or drop off. In either case, this meeting is being recorded. Let's do a roll call. Go ahead, Gene.
You have to name the members.
Yeah, I was just going to do that. So let's do a roll call of the commissioners that are on the call. So Dave McWilliams is on the call. We have Kevin Solak on the call. Mamet Mahanagu. Sorry, Mamet.
Learn it. Learn it. Mizanolu. Learn it.
Mamet Mazanolu is on the call. Thank you for the help with that. We also have, and that gives us a quorum. And we have our coordinator, Dennis Clark, on the call with us as well, and our secretary, Jean Nielsen.
Nilsson, get it right.
Nielsen. Yeah, I'm not good with names. I apologize. I'm just not good with names. So why don't we go through and take a look at the meeting minutes of the previous meetings? Has anybody had a chance to take a look at these?
Yep.
Brian Drennan did call me prior to the meeting, and he went over all the corrections that need to be made.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at them and I don't know what corrections he made, but on the 15th, one thing I just wanted to make sure of is on the North Pond, that where it says their son Kirk, it's Aiden Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Take a note of that.
The Eagle Scout is Adrian Belashev.
Andre
Belashev.
Yeah, so that should be actually Andre.
Yeah, he corrected that.
Okay, great.
And it was Kirkpatrick.
Yep, Aiden Kirkpatrick, AIDEN.
Yeah, that'll be corrected.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes of November 15th if they don't have any other questions?
You change on that same page, did you change the DEP director to DPW director for Randy Brown? Was that one of the changes?
Which where?
Right above that North Pond trail map on the November 15th, under potential violations at Noble Steed Crossing.
Right.
You have Randy Brown listed as DEP director. He's a DPW director.
Well, maybe he got a promotion.
Maybe he works for the state. Just wanted to let you know that one.
He's worthy of it.
That's
Good
it.
for Randy.
That's all I had.
Anybody else? So do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Do you want to second that?
I'll second it, Jerry.
All right, so let's go through and do a roll call vote. So Mamet made a motion. Jerry seconded the motion. Kevin?
Aye.
And I, Dave McWilliams, will aye as well. So why don't we go ahead and move on to the minutes of December 6th, 2021. And I will ask the same question. Has anybody had a chance to go through and read these? And if so, are there any corrections that you feel need to be made?
Again, Brian Drennan went over these as well prior to the meeting.
Okay,
And did make some corrections.
okay.
He's usually pretty thorough.
Yeah, the only thing that I picked up on was the 5 Honeybird, where it says coordinator questioned why the proposal was issued. I just think maybe we should add coordinator Clark, if that's not being too picayune. This will be
Coordinator
coordinator.
Clark.
Yeah,
Acting coordinator.
because we have so many coordinators. I want to make sure we're choosing the right one.
Acting
Okay.
coordinator.
Acting coordinator. Okay. I'll change that.
Thank you.
And of course, Mr. Nelson's name is spelled wrong on every single one of these too.
Oh, Ryan?
Mr. Ryan's name is spelled wrong on all of them.
Ryan, we'll fix that for you.
Yeah, we will.
All right. So I will happily make a motion to accept the minutes of December 20th, 2021 with the recommended changes. Do I have a second?
Actually, it's the December 6th minutes, Dave.
December 6th, sorry. Thank you. I'm looking at the agenda for today. December 6th, do I have a second?
Second.
So we'll do a roll call. I made the motion, Mamet seconded. Jerry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. So we've accepted the minutes. We are at 7:08. Let's go through some of the, let's not get into that yet. So let's look into, just talk about some of the new business stuff that's listed on the agenda. First and foremost, just remember, if you haven't done them, we need to make sure that we get the social media and open meeting law training completed and just signed off and let me or Lisa at the town hall know. But if you can let me know, that would be great too, in case I get questions. If anybody has any questions on that, let me know. But if we can just get those done, that would be great. The second item under new business is just a coordinator position update. So Joe Didi came to the CPC meeting last week. The intent is to combine the conservation coordinator position with a newly formed CPC coordinator position. So that would add somewhere between 5 to 10 hours to the role. Hopefully, Joe had mentioned to try and get it up to a full-time position with benefits. So CPC is up to speed and looking forward to this as well. CPC is putting together a job model that can be submitted to the select board. Carl is looking to repost this, but at first we're going to meet with the select board on January 3rd to explain to the select board what this combined position is. If the select board decides to go through with it, then what's going to happen is they're going to post the position again. Because it's a new position, it has to get posted again, and then the applicants can sign on for it. But that's kind of where things stand right now. We feel we have a better chance of getting this thing through if we can have both positions combined. So I can keep you guys up to date on that, but if anybody wants to join the select board meeting on January 3rd, we'll be presenting myself and the CPC chairperson what this position is going to look like moving forward.
Dave, what time's that meeting?
I think the select board meeting's at 6. And
Dave,
they promised we'd be the first on the agenda.
I just want to remind you about first on the agenda. You did promise the RDA to be first on the agenda, and you have a hearing scheduled for 7:10. So you want to.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So I was done with that anyways, Dennis, but thank you. So our first hearing is at 7:10. The Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing.
Hey, Dave, you promised that you were going to do the RDA first tonight. That's first on the agenda. And we remember we had problems last week.
I got it right here. That's what I'm reading.
16 Grandview Terrace, RDA.
Yeah.
Dennis, it
Okay,
had to be the legal ad had to be reposted with the new information on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So I can go ahead?
Be bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. And listen, better right than anything. So the Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, GLC 131-40, and the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaws, Chapter 182 and Chapter 450, for a request for determination The project location is 62 Grandview Terrace, Southwick, Massachusetts, 01077. The project is for the reconstruction of stairs to lake access within the buffer zone of Lake Congamon. The meeting is taking place via Zoom and it is taking place now. So who do we have on the call for this project?
Hi, this is Chris McNeil. I'm representing the project on 16 Grandview Terrace. Just to correct, that was actually 16 Grandview Terrace. I think you said a different number.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's definitely 16 Grandview Terrace, but thank you, Chris. Yeah. Okay.
So I think where we left off was just, making sure we had the sufficient information as far as, the distance away from the bank, the slope drop, soil retention, etc. So I've gotten, a few more pictures ready for you to present the project.
Great. Well, let's see what you have.
All right. Is that showing up on the screen?
Yeah, we're seeing the topographical photograph.
Yeah. And, I apologize for my topographic skills. If this isn't sufficient, I'm just going to go to a surveyor for it to try to make sure that, you get all the information you need. But this is the best I could do with my lack of computer skills. But so on this, it's showing where the new stairs start, 76 feet from the front property line. And it's on a 40-foot slope. The slope drops 24 foot 6 inches and 40 feet. So it's an abrupt slope. There's a retaining wall at the bottom and you see where the stairs end, and that's also the limit of the work. And in front of the limit of work is going to be a silt fence. The stairs are 40 feet from the bank. And so I'm just requesting permission to, to do the project with the Conservation Commission's approval.
So, Chris, so just so everybody knows, after the last meeting, those of you that were on it, there was some confusion. So Marissa and I went and met with Chris and the owner of the property, and we toured the property. Typically, a site visit that would be done, I guess, after the initial presentation to the board, we went out and did it just to make sure that when they came before us today that we were kind of up to speed. So they walked us through the project. It doesn't look like there's going to be a bunch of heavy lifting. There's not going to be a tremendous amount of excavation work that's going to be done. Pretty much the area that's going to be impacted is cleared already. So there's not a lot of vegetation or anything that's going to need to be taken down. We had conversations with Chris and the property owner about our recommendations for silt fencing, which it looks like Chris is complying with here on his drawing. And I think we also asked that you put another level of silt fencing up towards the top, Chris.
Yeah, you know what? I apologize for not representing that in this drawing. I actually have put both in place, and they can actually be viewed from the road, but I've put them in place as of yet. So I should have sketched that in the drawing, but there will be 2 silt fences. They're both in place, and I'm going to put up the straw fences once before I start the project.
What is your time frame to begin?
As soon as I get the permit. So if this were to if I were to get a negative determination, which I think that's the terminology for, that it would be good to proceed without a notice of intent, then I'm going to submit a building permit application, and as soon as I get approval, I'm going to start. So it'd be in the next, couple weeks if possible.
Okay. So from the board, are there before I throw it out to the board? So I agree with Chris. The drawings are not, I guess, what we're typically used to seeing. And I suppose if I actually hadn't gone out and visited the property, I'd be pretty suspect of what I'm looking at. I'm comfortable with what he's proposing, based solely on the fact that Marissa and I were both out there. Unfortunately, Marissa's not on the call tonight. But I think we both walked away pretty confident that they were doing what needed to be done to protect the lake and as importantly, to protect that bank. But you know, we're a commission, so let's open it up to anybody else on the anybody else that wants to pipe in.
Are all the yellow silt fencing? Is that yellow lines? What's the blue? What's the yellow?
So the silt fence is labeled on the silt line, and then each line is represented by its own notation. So as you can see, the bank is notated on the bottom yellow line. The stairs end limit of work is that line, and the limit of work notation above that's a cheesy arrow that points to the stairs end, showing the limit of work. And the blue line is just a dimension line showing the length of the slope that this project is going to be built on. And the side notes showing that the slope drops 24 feet 6 inches in 40 feet. So that slope, that's the amount of runoff. I guess I'm trying to represent the runoff that it's going to, the type of runoff that's going to might impact the lake. The slope was important for Marissa and Mark, and so I tried to represent that in as best I could without the topographic skills, I think. But and then the top yellow line, it's as notated above, is the beginning of the new stairs. And so if you look more along the notes of the property line, you can see it's 76 inches from the property line to the new stairs themselves. And then the stairs are, the slope is 40 feet long and shows a drop on the left. And then out in front, I just wanted to represent that was the limit of the work, and that the limit of work, if you can see that red note, it's 40 feet from the current bank. So the limit of work is 40 feet from the current bank, and it's contained with the silt fence about halfway between the limit of work and the water itself.
Will there be hay bales as well as a silt fence?
Yes, I did indicate that it would be reinforced with straw bales as well to not introduce weeds or anything.
Good.
And but not on this particular drawing that's shown on screen. But I did send copies of
Okay.
showing those. I can switch if you need me to.
That's fine. It's just quite a pitch. I was just concerned about that.
Yeah, this is about the worst drawing I have. I do have several others that are easier to to see.
Okay.
Looking for the floodplain. Is there a indication where the floodplain is on this map,
So,
or is that on another map?
Let me switch to that. There's a picture. Sorry, just 1 second on that. They are documents that I did send prior to this meeting. The floodplain, what I understand was when I measured it, it would have been 5 feet above what the current lake level was. And my project does, the stairs land about 5 feet 4 from the level of the lake, which I understand, again, 5 feet above that level would have been in the floodplain. And so I'm going to put a slab on grade, which is going to be about the size of the stair height. So that puts me about 5'7.5" above the floodplain. Actually, I'm sorry, 9.5 above the floodplain. Would that be acceptable? Yeah, this one here. Would that be acceptable for me? With the slab on grade, in other words, would the surface as a slab on grade be sufficient to lift us even further above the floodplain? This is a drawing that I have here. So it shows where the bottom landing is. The frontmost footing is 40 feet from the lake, and it's at least 5 feet above where the lake level was. And from my understanding, it would be sufficient to be above out of the floodplain.
So the work is outside of the floodplain, you're saying?
Yes, by about 7 to 9 inches.
All right, so it's outside of any resource areas, bank, floodplain, anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the severity of the slope in this picture a lot better.
Honey, do you want to bring up a different picture?
What are the new stairs to be constructed of, and what are the old stairs constructed of?
The old stairs are wrought iron. They're
Mhm.
not even remotely to code. And so the new stairs, let me pull that up real quick. Just, yeah, honey, if you want to share that. This shows the side slope real quick, and then I'm going to go right on to the plans here. So, you know, that shows the severity of the slope. That, you know, it drops, I'd say at a 45-degree angle. And yeah, if you can switch to the, I'm going to go to the engineered plans and I'll explain all the materials. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the stair is going to be constructed out of pressure treated Trex decking, so a composite type of decking boards for the treads and risers, etc. PVC railings, and then just concrete with a with frost control, because it'll be poured during the winter. And everything else would be galvanized steel, stainless steel, ceramic coated galvanized stainless steel, and I believe that covers all the material.
Wow. So really only your disturbance is just putting in just the what's precast, like the other sonotubes you're pouring in place, or are they precast?
Yeah, I'll be pouring those in place, and I'll be digging them by hand. I really have no other choice because of the severity of the slope. So they'll be hand dug, and concrete will be poured, and they'll be backfilled. And if I have waste, that I'll take it off site. And I did put a note in my cheesy drawing there that before we remove the silt fence and the straw bales, we're gonna cast seed, like a contractor, a grass mix and natural vegetation to retain the soil and any kind of silt runoff. I notated that in the drawing. I'll make sure that I send multiple that links to each person if you need them. And I sent most things in. It's just the drawing that shows the slope, and the first drawing, that's the only one I don't think I've sent in via email, but I did put it up in the chat.
Okay. So from the commission standpoint, any other questions? Concerns? If you agree that we can move forward, or he can move forward with this project, we're going to be looking for a motion for a negative determination.
I will move for a negative determination on the project.
That was you, Jerry?
Yes.
You have a second? I will second. So
Is there,
Jerry?
before we proceed, there's no bond on this one, right? It would be no bond. No, this is an RDA, so there's no bond required. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So I will second the motion. Well, Matt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Chris, you have a negative determination voted by the commission, so you can move forward with the project. Dennis, what are his next steps? Anything that,
I will prioritize this, and I'll have it done tomorrow, hopefully, and I'll get it to you guys for signatures.
okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, let me make a note of that too. Okay, Chris.
Hey,
Well, so-
guys, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to going forward.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care.
Hey, Merry Christmas, by the way.
You all. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you all.
All right, so we're running a little behind. We have a 720 NOI, and that is a continuation for the 110, 112, and 138R Hillside Road for a delineation of the wetland resources area. And who do we have on the call for this?
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates.
Hi, Ryan Nelson.
Hello, everyone. So I talked with Kate, and she went out and reviewed the flags. I have not had time to get out there and make the revisions and survey the flags and reestablish some ones that were missing. So ultimately, we're going to have to continue for tonight, and I hope to have all that wrapped up for the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, we saw I think Dennis and I and Jean were privy to the email earlier.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to continue this until our January 3rd, right? January 3rd, Jean, meeting?
Yes.
Can I get a second?
Second,
Who was that? Matt?
me, yeah.
Excellent. Joey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Right, so the ayes have it. We're gonna roll this over until January 3rd. All right, our next hearing is for 725, and I will read oh, no, it isn't.
Did we miss one, Dave?
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I skipped one. My bad, I went out of order.
Isn't there a Loomis? Yeah,
Yeah, I apologize to the people at 730 Loomis Street. So we'll hit that one right now. The Southwick Conservation will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act 131-40 and the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaws 182, Chapter 450 for a notice of intent. The proposed project location is 370 North Loomis Street, map 15, parcel 26. The application proposes a construction of a single-family home with a driveway, stream crossing, and septic system. Portions of the work are within the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands, riverfront area, bordering land subject to flooding, and NHESP mapped habitat. The hearing will be held at 7:10 on December 20th via Zoom. So welcome, and who do we have from the 370 Loomis Street?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates again,
Right, sorry about stopping
the,
this.
representing the applicant, Scott and Diane Hodges. They're prospective buyers of this property. North Loomis Street is located here, so this property would be on the east side, just south of Amberleaf Way subdivision. There is a perennial stream that flows parallel to the road. Starts off site here and flows northerly across the site, so that light blue shaded area would be the interior of the stream. The black lines with the flags would be the mean annual high water boundary. There are wetlands located on both sides of the stream. That's this blue hatched area. And you can see the blue line would be the boundary of the wetlands. The floodplain is shown on this red line on the plan. That is taken from a topographic survey RLA conducted. So we took the mapped flood elevation based on the FEMA mapping, and we updated it based on the actual contours of the site. So that's shown in red. So that would be the outer limits of the floodplain. In the purple color is the NHESP boundary. So this is within habitat. This would be outside of habitat. So as you can see, the corridor along the stream is within NHESP habitat. We also have an intermittent stream that comes down off the mountain, flowing in this direction and confluences with the stream over here. So because our project site is located in the uplands here, we only delineated one side, the closest side of this intermittent stream. The back side has not been delineated as no work is proposed over there. So the proposed project is to build a single family home within this upland area. And the only means of access to do that is to cross the stream near the road. There were a couple challenges with that. One being we need to stay under the 10% of riverfront area disturbance threshold for new construction, which we are. Another challenge was BVW disturbance. So there was nowhere to cross that wouldn't result in BVW disturbance. Ultimately, the location of where we're crossing was more so dictated by the floodplain. I talked with DEP in preliminary discussions with this project, and although there were no specific statutes in the Wetlands Protection Act that prohibit structures within a floodway under the Wetlands Protection Act, the way the language is worded is such that a project or a structure can't constrict or increase floodway or flows during a flood event. So rather than try to make the argument of a proposed bridge within the floodway and floodplain, the applicant has found a solution in a company that can manufacture a steel decking bridge that will span the floodplain entirely. So we are proposing to span the floodway with no disturbance to flood storage. So no comp storage is required. The abutments of the bridge will be built within the wetlands located here and here. There'll be a driveway of minimal practical width as required, 12 feet wide, except for the actual bridge portion itself. There will be a wetland replication area located adjacent to the wetland boundary here. During our perk testing, we did test pits in this vicinity, and groundwater is very conducive to excavating into this hillside and creating a wetland, and I think it'll do very well there. Going to the third sheet, and this gives a blow up of the proposed bridge crossing. So North Loomis Street is here on our left. There would be a driveway of 12 feet wide that comes in, and it starts to climb an elevation gently. So we start around elevation 231 at the road. The proposed finished grade or top of the deck of the bridge is 235. The top of the bank on each side of the stream is elevation about 229. So the top deck of the bridge is going to be about 6 feet above the top bank of the stream. We have to factor in, the actual height of the decking and whatnot. So let's assume 2 feet. So that still gives you 4 feet of clearance from the top of the bank to the bottom of the decking of the bridge. Once you cross the bridge, there will be a vehicle pull-off, and then the driveway resumes up into the uplands and heading away from riverfront and the wetlands. To minimize the BVW disturbance as well as the riverfront area disturbance, there will be retaining walls on both sides of the approach to the bridge because this will be elevated. That way the grading can tie into the side face of these retaining walls. And this is a cross-section profile of the stream crossing to demonstrate how it meets the stream crossing performance standards. So we have an openness ratio. The calculation has to exceed 0.82. We well exceed that. We're 18.6, and that's because we're not only spanning the stream, but we're spanning the whole floodplain adjacent to it. So these flags here demarcate the median high water line of the stream. Here's the stream channel. This dashed line, the heavy dark dashed line, is the floodplain elevation. And then this is the proposed bridge crossing. Retaining walls are shown on both sides. And we did get a determination back from NHESP because the crossing portion of the work is within the map's habitat for turtles, wood turtles. So you can see this is the NHESP boundary, and they had a few conditional items, but they issued a no-take letter. And we received no comments from DEP for this filing.
Hey, can you pause there for just a second? And can
Sure.
you just explain to the board what a no-take letter is?
Sure. So when NHESP, Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, their division of Mass Fisheries and Wildlife, when they review a project where work is subject to within their mapped areas where they believe these species may exist, there's three types of decisions they can issue. One is a no-take letter where they deem that the project will have no effect as proposed, and it's pretty much an approval to go ahead and proceed. The second decision they could issue is called a conditional no-take, which means that the project will not harm the species provided you do X, Y, and Z. And then the third type of decision they can issue is a take, which is pretty much a denial, saying the project will adversely affect the species. So for this project, they issued us a conditional no-take. So if I go to, I believe I have their letter here.
What are the conditions?
Yep, I'm going to pull those up next.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the letter. It was issued December 17th. Based on the review of information that was provided and the information that is currently contained in our database, the division has determined that this project, as currently proposed, will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat of state protected rare wildlife species. Therefore, it is our opinion that this project meets the state listed species performance standard for the issue of an order of conditions. If you want to the second page, based on the information provided and the information contained in our database, the division finds that this project, as currently proposed, must be conditioned in order to avoid a prohibited take of state listed species. To avoid a prohibited take of state listed species, the following conditions must be met. The first one is a turtle protection plan. Prior to the start of work, the applicant shall submit a wood turtle protection plan to the division for review and written approval. Said plan shall detail procedures for protecting state-listed turtles during construction. Said turtle protection plan shall be implemented as approved by the division. Any changes to said turtle protection plan must be submitted to the division for review and written approval prior to implementation of said changes. The division is available for further guidance and technical assistance. And the second condition was erosion and sedimentation controls. All erosion and sedimentation controls shall be removed and properly disposed of after construction is completed and as soon as surrounding areas are stabilized.
Ryan, do you guys do that turtle protection plan? Is that something you guys?
We do not. You need to have a special species handling license.
Okay,
And we don't have that, but people like SWCA and Oxbow, they do those all the time.
interesting. Thank you.
Let me go back to the plan.
There's more in that last paragraph. Can you bring it back up?
Sure. So the last paragraph, provided the above noted conditions are fully implemented and there are no changes to the project plans, this project will not result in a take of state listed species. We note that all work is subject to the anti-segmentation provisions of the MISA, which is the Massachusetts Environmental Species Act. This determination is a final decision of the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife pursuant to 321 CMR 10.18. any changes to the proposed project or any additional work beyond that shown on the site plans may require an additional filing with the division pursuant to MISA. This project may be subject to further review if no physical work is commenced within 5 years from the date of issuance of this determination, or if there's a change to the project.
Thank you.
So 5 years. Interesting.
All right.
So getting back to the overall picture here, once the crossing is constructed, this is the riverfront area boundary. This is the 200-foot riverfront. So all work east of that is located outside of riverfront, but we'll also be working within buffer zone to this intermittent stream to the north. So there's somewhat of a natural plateau for a segment in the more like a bench in the side of this hill, and that's where the house is proposed. In order to get a driveway to the garage, it's too steep on this side, so it has to be sited on this side of the house. So that's the reason for putting the driveway and the work in the buffer zone on this area. One of the alternatives we looked at was, how come the house can't be sited down here? And we ran into during our perk testing that drainage is far better up on the side of this hill. So the proposed septic system is located here. These were the 2 test pits in the perk that were done, these square icons here. And we're providing a somewhat modest backyard, and then to catch back up to grade, there's a series of 3 short retaining walls to catch back up to grade. There will be a rain garden located here, and that's going to collect sheet flow from the driveway, all the roof leaders, the downspouts, foundation drains, will outlet to this rain garden area here, as well as a 3-foot wide shoulder with riprap along the driveway. And that's all going to be pitched to a riprap apron down to this rain garden area. When we did test pits on this hillside, it was a very fine, dry, powdery sand. So we don't think drainage will be an issue here. Aside from that, that hits on kind of all the key points. There's obviously a lot more I could keep going, but I'll let you guys ask questions where you have concerns.
Can we see the side view again, Brian?
Sure.
Like the elevations?
Yeah.
How, like worst case scenario, if that stream floods out, how far is the water from the bottom of that bridge?
So based on the FEMA, so FEMA actually, we lucked out. They actually have a cross-section profile when they did their study that fell on this property. So we had a pretty good representation of what the floodplain will do at this specific site. And at the area of the crossing, we think the floodplain will be about 229.5. So the proposed top of the deck is about 235. So if we give a conservative, 2 feet thickness of bridge material, that puts us at 233. So we're still, 3.5 feet above the flood stage.
Okay.
Ryan, did they take into account there was a huge beaver dam out there at one time, and the whole area was flooded. It since got washed out, but
Yeah, I did see that. Let me see here. I think this area where the stream widens out, there used to be like a beaver impoundment, as Dennis said. It had an incised break that was cut through it, so it wasn't holding back water when I was out there. But yeah, that's definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on if this project gets built, so it doesn't compromise the crossing.
Right.
Is the material that the bridge is made out of, would that have any impact on the water? Let's say it flooded over the top of the bridge. Would that be a problem? As far as getting particulates and material in the stream?
If that was the case, all in North Loomis Street would be underwater, but
Okay. All right.
yeah, I mean,
Shouldn't be a problem, right?
yeah, I'm not a geotech engineer. I don't know what, lateral side flows a bridge could handle in that
Right.
in that condition, but theoretically it shouldn't.
Okay.
Dave, when we talked to Randy Brown the
Yeah.
other day, he was asking to have some time to review this plan because, as you know, they just put a new culvert in not far
Right.
from there.
Right. No, I agree. And I think we should probably go out and take a look at it anyways, Dennis, right?
But let's make sure Randy gets a copy of all of these plans and get his input on it.
Is there a way to cross that stream right now?
Not on this particular property, no.
So
You
if you
can-
were to do a site visit, how would you get out there?
You can walk around the backside up here by the actual crossing. Sorry, the culvert on the main road. That's how I've gotten to it.
And that's the one that Randy Brown, DPW director, just so you know who we're talking
Right. Yeah, I believe that's the newly constructed culvert. That's
Okay.
you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
about. Okay. So, all right, what's the driveway material? Is it going to be a paved driveway? Is it going to be other than paved?
That's a good question. If the applicants are on, I would asking that they please chime in, but right now I'm not sure.
I think he's on mute.
But we can find that out. We'll have an answer
Sorry, this
for you.
is Scott Hodges. I was on mute. We're planning on having a gravel driveway. At the top where the turnout spot is in front of the garage, it may be asphalt or concrete. We're not sure.
And what are the abutments that you were talking about, Ryan? Are those going to be concrete or are they going to be just block?
Yeah, those they would be some sort of structurally engineered abutment because they have to take the load bearing from the bridge. So that's to be designed.
Okay.
Mr. Hodges, can I have your address, please?
Yes, we're at 176 Granville Road in Southwick.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we know DPW wants to take a look at these plans. I would like to go out and walk the property and take a look at exactly where everything is laid out, typical site visit like we normally do. Ryan?
Yep. That sounds good.
I don't know what the other members of the board feel, but I would feel much better if I could take a look at this.
Sure, I'd like to see it too.
Okay,
Have to wear big boots
I think we're gonna need it.
or wait for the ground to freeze.
Not wearing my flip-flops on this one, Jerry.
Yeah.
I don't think so, not this time around. Dennis, you want to go for a walkabout?
Oh, sure.
It sounds like you know the property already, unless you're just keeping tabs on beavers.
Yeah. Is it possible do you think Mr. Cicchini would let us go through his yard, Ryan, or is he not working with you guys anymore?
I'd have to defer to Scott on that. I haven't really had much communication with him.
Well, let us know the date and I can reach out to him. We have a friendly relationship with him right now.
But
I like the right now part.
Yeah.
You expecting a cantankerous one?
No, he's been very accommodating. So
That's
he's a
great.
nice guy. Yeah.
yeah, he is.
It
And I
probably
know
is
his daughter, so
probably shorter to get out there that way, wouldn't it? Going through his.
yes, it would.
But yeah,
So-
I'd love to. I mean, this is a very ambitious project. I'd love
Agreed.
to follow through on everything.
So I know we're in the midst of the holidays and I know my wife and I will certainly be traveling next week. Candidly, the only day I am in town next week would be Monday, the 27th, unless you guys wanted to be ambitious and try and do something this week on maybe say the 23rd. But otherwise, the 27th would be the best for me because after that, the next Monday, we're back here in town. So Jerry
I have
and
a-
Dennis,
I have a morning appointment on the 27th. I can do afternoon on the
Dan?
27th.
I'm good in the afternoons after 3:30.
Okay. And Dennis?
You're on mute, Dan. There you go.
Dennis's mic is off.
I'll speak
Afternoon.
for him.
27th afternoon, I might be able to make that actually.
That'd
Yeah,
be great.
yeah, I think that would work for me. Yeah.
Great, great. About
So
what
why don't
time?
we go
afternoon?
for the 27th at 3:30 for a site visit?
Right.
So
What
Ryan,
time?
I'm sure,
I
3:30?
cannot make the 27th, but I can have one of my coworkers available.
Okay,
3:30 might be a little late because it still will be kind of dark
Yeah,
by 4.
we'll have a half an hour to look at it. Yeah, that's
Okay,
true. Well, yeah, well, Kevin has, he has work, so.
okay. Bring your flashlights
yeah,
so you can find your way back.
Right.
we can make it work. Actually, when is it? The days start getting longer tomorrow or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
so we'll
might
have
say,
plenty of daylight by then.
Yeah.
Quick question, is the only thing that's flagged right now is the delineation? How about the house site? Is any of that laid out, Ryan?
No, but prior to the site visit, we'll stake that out.
Okay,
That'd be great. That, the septic, the driveway, all of the above, if you don't mind. Whatever you can get staked out would be great.
Yep, we'll do some center line drives in the house and all the key stuff.
yeah, perfect, thanks.
What did we settle on? 3 o'clock or what?
3:30, December 27th, 2021. I'm hoping
Right,
it's our last site visit of the year.
I will reach out to Mr. Cicchini and make sure that that's okay, so you can use his bridge to cross.
All right. So Ryan, are you looking for a continuation on this?
Yes, please.
Anybody like to make a motion to continue this hearing?
I'll make a motion to continue the project,
And I'll second it.
370 North Loomis.
All right, Jerry, how do you vote?
Aye.
David Williams votes aye, so we will continue this until January.
Okay, thank you. See you then.
All right.
See you over there.
Don't go anywhere yet, Ryan.
Oh, I know, I know.
All right. You're here for the duration like the rest of us. All right, so we have an NOI scheduled for 7/25. The Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts Wetland Act 131.40 and the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaws 182, Chapter 450 for a notice of intent. The project location is Lot 5, Honeybird Run, Map 41, Block 11, Parcel 5. Proposed work consists of lawn regrading within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. It is taking place now via Zoom. Who do we have representing?
Hi, everyone. Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates again. Last meeting we had met on this. It was submitted as an RDA application. And there was discussion about the commission's desire to have or to be able to impose conditions on the project. So we have resubmitted the same plan as a notice of intent. This is for Lot 5 and Lot 6. As Dave had stated, just some minor site grading and yard work within the outer 100-foot buffer zone to wetlands that were previously determined as part of the subdivision project. The whole premise of this is that so these lots can be approved and then released from the overarching subdivision order conditions so they could be sold and transferred properly. We have added or we're retaining conservation monument signage along the 50-foot buffer zone. So that would demarcate any future encroachments from these residences. Aside from that, not much has else changed. We're just changing kind of the platform at how you guys permit this.
Ryan, anything that takes place beyond that 50-foot where the monumentation is going to be, just going to let that grow back naturally? Is there any seeding that's going to take place, or are we just going to let nature take over?
We're just gonna let nature take over. Right now, it's just a bunch of herbaceous stuff that's grown in over the past 2 years, and it's, I think it'd be fine just on its own.
Have they already started to work on that, Ryan?
Yes, lot 5 is totally done. Someone's living in it. Lot 6,
Okay.
when I was out there a couple months ago, it was being framed, so I'm sure it's pretty darn close.
Right. So I think the intent of today was to bring this forth as an NOI so that we had the ability to put together an order of conditions, whereas we wouldn't have had that same option if it was just RDA in the past.
Right.
We had a relatively lengthy conversation about this last meeting, but if anybody has any questions, now's the time.
I think it was the monumentation, plus we were able to hold a bond to ensure that the monumentation was done correctly.
Yeah.
Right. So what the monumentation, what are we talking about, Ryan? Were we talking boulders, or since it's already been graded, are we looking at something other?
We didn't really specify, so it's kind of, I guess we can work it out, whatever you guys feel is best.
Well, I think our preference is always boulders because you just can't pick them up and move them.
Right.
Right. If it's
Yep.
a birdhouse, you can knock it down with your lawnmower.
Right.
Right. If it's a sign, you know, I don't want to look at signs out of my backyard, so I'd probably do something to get rid of those. So, you know, my vote would be boulders.
Yeah. Boulders is a good idea.
So we can put into the order of conditions that these two properties are gonna have the 50-foot buffer zone marked with boulders spaced out, whatever we typically put those boulders spaced out as, and that no work is gonna take place beyond the 50-foot buffer zone. Now, I mean, the work's already been done. No continued mowing or planting will take place. Dennis, what were you thinking of since the majority of this work's already been done? I mean, did you have any thoughts of what a bond amount would be?
I think the normal $10,000 bond would be sufficient motivation to get it done.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I'm in favor of that. So we got to take each one of these individually. Unless there's any other questions, the first thing that needs to be done on lot 5 is take a motion to close the hearing.
I'll
Make a
move to
motion to
close.
close the hearing on lot 5.
Second.
Kevin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave McWilliams, aye. So now we have to take a motion to accept the project with conditions.
I'll make a motion to accept the project with conditions of boulders being lined up in the backside at the 50 feet wetland buffer zone with how many feet apart?
What do we typically do, Dennis? I mean, I don't know, so 50 feet, 20 feet?
On center or?
Yeah, sure, let's go on center, that's a good number.
Yeah,
On center?
What's a typical measurement for a lot that size?
you got any suggestions, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm just looking to see what we have them spaced out as. I think they're 20 feet on center is what we have them as.
Then
That
let's
would be
go
my
with 20
guess.
feet.
Okay, so 20
feet, yeah.
feet, 20 feet on center as depicted in the project map with a $10,000 bond.
I second that. Kevin, how do you vote?
Aye. Sorry.
That's okay. Jerry?
Aye.
Okay. Good deal. So let's just look at the right side of the picture, right? So it's lot 6 same thing. So I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Anybody want to second it?
Second.
And Jerry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I will make a motion to accept the project with the order of conditions that bouldering be done on the 50-foot buffer line at 20-foot intervals and that a $10,000 bond be required. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I heard Jerry. So Mamet, how do you vote?
Okay, I think we seconded at the same time, but I'll live with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Aye.
All right. Kevin?
Aye.
All right. So that one is done. So Ryan, I think you're done for the evening.
Okay, I'll let you guys vote on the other one. Thanks.
You have any other business with you, right?
I don't believe so. All right, thank
Thanks,
you, everyone.
Ryan.
Actually, Merry Christmas to you. Have a good
Yes,
holiday.
thank you all. Take care.
All right, let's just blast through some the old business and the new business. So I think we're okay on the new business stuff. If anybody have any questions regarding the coordinator position that you don't feel that was answered during earlier discussions, let's discuss it now. If not, we're just going to jump over to old business. So is Norm on?
I'm still on.
Hey,
All right,
Norm.
what do we got for LPP?
Okay, the first item that we have is we made a recommendation and voted unanimously to change lake level protocols. And basically to eliminate the no wake portion of the protocol. So that there would only be two. It would be no boating at 225 feet, 0.2 feet. And going up and coming down, reopening the lake at 224.8. Now, the approval process goes first to the harbor master, then it goes to the Conservation Commission, and then it goes to the select board. So the Conservation Commission should be hearing soon on that one.
How will we get that communication? Is we going to get something in writing, Norm?
I believe you will get something in writing.
Okay.
Okay. The next item we discussed was docks not being removed by December 1st. We cited that there were several that had not been removed. I know that Kurt Saunders his crew was behind schedule. But since our meeting on December 9th, Kurt has done all his. So if there are any remaining, and there were several that members said were not Kurt Saunders' responsibility to remove. The LMC is recommending that perhaps the Conservation Commission would like to use the code red process to remind the lake homeowners that December 1st is the deadline to have their docks removed.
Did we get any pushback from the select board or the chief on that?
We didn't hear anything. I haven't heard anything since our December 9th meeting.
We did request that, right, Dave? We did ask for that to happen.
Yeah. Right. So Norm, are you requesting that we do it again?
Well, I being a homeowner on the lake, I didn't get a call.
Okay.
Did Jerry get a call?
No.
Okay, so the code red didn't happen.
All right. So we'll run that by the chief.
Okay.
And then he, I believe, has to run that by the select board
Okay.
for that to get done. So.
All right. Just a brief update on the police boathouse. The last update I gave you several months ago, the legal beagles were running through their portion of it. They have come to their agreement, and now it would need the state to approve it and the select board to approve that. Now, Dennis, you had mentioned back when we discussed it several months ago that the Conservation Commission was going to get to vote on that too, but nobody mentioned that at LMC. You have any comment on that?
Was that within 100 feet of the lake, Norm, or was that
Yes,
was outside of?
it's right on the 100-foot line. Yeah, right. It's right on the lake.
Yeah. then yeah, we'll have to have some kind of
Yeah,
formal filing with the Conservation Commission.
okay. And the last item, we talked about your item for 410 Mountain Road for the variance request. We did verify that the dock in question has in fact been in for years. It is not easily removable. And the recommendation that LMC is giving back to Conservation Commission is that a permanent variance be granted until the dock needs to be replaced, at what time it should be a portable one that can come out. And the usual lights in orange ear markings on the dock itself should be required.
So Gene or Dennis, what's the mechanism to grant that?
That would be the variance. I think what Norman's saying is probably the best resolution of this at this time, to grant them a permanent variance. But when that dock needs to be replaced, it'd be removed and replaced with a temporary removable dock. And we can, right, we've written that in before, and we can issue a variance to that effect, I believe.
Okay. Is that something that you can do, Dennis, or something? How do you want to go about?
Yeah,
actually-
we can do it together. I'll show you.
That would be good.
Gene kind of knows. We can all work together in that one.
I
Okay.
have a letter that I've used for somebody else as a template.
Oh, perfect.
Change it. However, I think you might need to motion and vote.
That
on
was gonna be my next question. So for the group, do we want to make a motion to provide this individual a permanent dock status based on the conversation that we just had from Norm at LMC? And if so, can someone make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Kevin makes the motion. I will second it. Jerry?
Aye.
Mamet?
I think I missed part of that. I'm sorry, so I don't have a vote on it.
Okay, we need a vote, right, Gene? Because there's only 4 of us?
That's right.
Right, so Mamet, it's LMC is recommending that 4010 Mountain Road be granted a permanent dock variance until said time that dock needs to be replaced based on the structure and age of the dock. And 3 of us have voted to approve that. That's the motion before you right now.
Okay. Is that gonna affect other docks in the future?
I'll
Does-
defer
Is
to
this ever gonna
Norm.
come back to haunt you, where there's somebody gonna come up and say, hey, you did it for so-and-so, I want the same
Well,
treatment?
Well, we have done it for other people, and it does.
All right,
meet
so
the
there you go
3
then. Yeah, I agree.
It does meet the 3 criteria that is
Okay.
outlined in the variance, so
All right,
it qualifies.
okay. So you have
So
my
I'm
vote.
going with Mamet's a big thumbs up.
Yeah,
All right, excellent. So we'll get that out to them, Gene.
and that is the report from Lake Management.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You can either hang on or jump off if you want. We have a couple more things to do. And then we can all go about celebrating the holidays. So just a couple of updates on 2 enforcement orders that we continued from the last meeting. Let's go with 22 Babb Road. If you recall, that is the person abutting the North Pond property. And Dennis and I met with the individual that lives there, Aiden Kirkpatrick. Took a look at some of the work that he was doing over there to put together a replication plan to shore up the silt that was encroaching on the wetland and some of the work that he's done. I'm going to see. Gene, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Go ahead.
Can you guys see it? Yes?
Yes, I can.
All right, so here's the replication plan. So phase one, install straw bales 50 feet from the pond and stake down. Spread loose straw in the exposed ground between the bales and the pond. Remove silt from the pond. Install straw bales next to the pond where the washout took place. Physically block access to the North Pond property from the 25 road. So all of those things, Dennis and I went out there, were completed. I have some pictures over here on the right. Can you folks see those? I lose you guys?
Keep it going.
All right. So these are just some pictures of what he has done. He has since taken the plastic off the straw bale. So this is just, okay. So let's take a look at this. Go in this direction. So these are the bales coming up off of the lake. So he's dug about a 6-inch trench. He's putting the bales in there. He's staking them down with, again, the plastic off. Here is the fence that was damaged. And as it stands right now, he's pulled the fence back over and he has a bunch of straw bales patched up there. If you look here, this area here was where there was a washout coming down off an existing trail that had filled the ponds. All of this here is silt and fill that did not belong in the pond. This down here is the same area. As you can see, he got in there with a shovel and manually dug all of that stuff down, all the way down to the naturally occurring organic materials. And he's putting in straw bales there as well to make sure that no further silt goes down there. So that is all what he has completed from a phase one standpoint. Phase two, his plan is to plant native grasses or clover in the area between the bales and the pond. That'll take place in the spring once the growing season begins. Do a permanent repair to the fence on North Pond, between North Pond and Bab Road. And then his phase three, he wants to work with Concom and Citizens Restoring Congamon to help build and take place in a maintenance plan for the North Pond property. I think we've all discussed in the past, this individual is the one that was doing work down on the beach that kind of caused a stir. His intent has always been to try and beautify the property as much as possible. And I think he was under the misrepresentation that he was doing good. He was basically trying to help out, and unfortunately what he was doing was really not the right thing. And I think he's come to the conclusion. So Dennis and I again went out, met with him, and we feel that between the two of us, there's been enough significant work done to pull back the enforcement order. Dennis?
Dave, just to make it clear, just for the record, this is a restoration plan, not a replication plan, a restoration plan. And since these pictures were taken, the plastic is off the hay bales. They've been staked in. Plus, he spread hay over those bare areas. I saw pictures of it where the areas, those areas up there, it's got straw over that now for cover. So
yeah,
yes,
he sent a text. Yes, exactly.
I would agree with Dave. This is substantially in compliance with the enforcement order. We'll continue to monitor it and work with him on some other areas that need some attention. But this was the most important one, to get this cleared up as soon as possible.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a dirt bike track back there anymore. He's going to seed and plant that whole area. And anything he'll be doing will be outside the 100-foot buffer from now on. He seems to realize and appreciate the value of the resource area and very much wants to work with us.
Is he doing this at his own expense, Dennis?
He's doing this at his own expense.
Okay. Yep, shows good faith.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody else have any other questions? I mean, he's a great guy. If anybody ever wants to go out and take a walk and take a look and see what he's doing, I'm sure he's more than open to having anybody go out there. So unless there's any other questions, Dennis or Jean, regarding the enforcement order, do we need to take a motion to just discontinue the enforcement order, to remove the enforcement order? I'm not sure.
There really isn't a process for discontinuing an enforcement order. It's just that, you know, the commission can vote to say that they believe it's in substantial compliance at this time. And
Okay.
if he wanted a letter to, you know, in the future, if he needed a letter, he could always issue one, but it'd be on record.
Okay. Well, having been out there and seeing what he's done, I will happily take a vote, and I will vote that I believe he is in compliance. So I will go around the horn. And Kevin? You're on mute.
Aye.
Mamet?
Aye.
Jerry?
Yes, aye.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. The other enforcement order that was continued from the last meeting was for the Noble Steed property. And we had a meeting with the contractor, Salt Marsh Industries, last Thursday at Town Hall. Dennis, myself, DPW, the town planner, and the building inspector met with Jesse Saltmarsh and reviewed the items that were of concern. As far as we were concerned from a conservation standpoint, there was a whole other agenda for everybody else, but from a conservation standpoint, our concern was the deterioration of the silt fences and the inadequacy of the length of the silt fences around the resource area. He came with a plan that showed when and how the project was going to be done. Dennis and I went out there this afternoon prior to coming to this meeting to check and see where he stood. And I apologize, I didn't actually upload the pictures I took to my email. But he's gone ahead and he's totally encompassed the resource area with at least one row, one level of silt fencing with straw wattle. There's other areas where there's 2 rows of silt fencing with wattle for areas that seem more prone to erosion. And he's removed some of the silt out of the resource area that was requested that get removed. And the only other thing that we had a conversation, because actually Mr. Saltmarsh met us while we were out there today, Dennis and I asked that they do some natural plantings in the resource area to bring back some natural vegetation. So I think he's done significant enough work there as well to allow him to move forward and relax or remove the enforcement order. So Dennis, you want to give your take on that as well?
Yeah, after taking a look at it, it looks better than it has in many years. I'd say it's in substantial compliance. We'll have to keep an eye on it to make sure it stays that way. There's a couple of areas that look like could get out of control, which he's going to armor a little bit more. You know, keep an eye on that. And like Dave said, he's going to come back with a plan. He's going to have to do a replication when he's done with this. And the replication is going to continue to restoration of the areas that got degraded. So this is ongoing, but I would say that it is in substantial compliance at this time.
And the intent, just like the last one, is if we vote that he's in substantial compliance, it's not something we're going to have to review every meeting on our agenda. So again, being out there, and this is probably my 5th or 6th visit to that property. And finally, after 5 or 6 visits, the first time I'm confident that what he has done is actually going to hold up. So I'm going to go ahead and make a vote that I feel he's in compliance with the enforcement order. And I will take a second if anybody feels inclined.
Second.
And Jerry?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
All right, good. So that's everything that is on the agenda. I want to kind of turn it over to Jean right now, just for, Jean, you have a file that requires signatures in the office?
Yes, but I didn't print everything that Dennis had composed.
Okay,
So wait until I go back into the office and printed everything off.
okay.
I'm
I
gonna
am
have-
out of
I'm gonna
town.
have- I'll
Go
have
ahead.
2 more for you tomorrow, Gene, also. So wait till you
Okay.
get all of them together and you get everybody to sign at the same time.
If you can have them ready by around 11-ish, that's usually when I go into town hall.
Okay, I'll do it first thing in the morning.
Okay, thanks.
So I am out of town tomorrow. I'll be back in town on Thursday, so I can gather those up and try to meet with you folks and get the signatures so we can get those back into Gene's hands. As I mentioned, I'm out of town for the majority of next week, so I'd like to get this done before the holiday so that we can close out the year clean, okay? The other thing I wanted to talk about was Gene and I had a discussion about moving to a hybrid method, which means anybody that would like to remain on Zoom is welcome to remain on Zoom. Anybody that wants to meet in town hall is welcome to meet in town hall. Right now, as it stands, all the other boards in town that I have seen, at least the 3 that the other 2 that I'm on, have gone to the hybrid model. I would like to recommend that starting in January that we do the same, that anybody that wants to come into town hall is welcome to come in and sit around the table, as well as, the citizens of the town that want to come in and present their plans. But anybody that's more comfortable remaining on Zoom can remain on Zoom. So is anybody opposed to the hybrid model?
Not that I can vote, but there's been cases of COVID in town hall, and
Oh.
the numbers are astronomical right now. So maybe you guys want to hold off thinking about meeting in person, at least until after the January 3rd meeting.
I don't want to go into a COVID red zone.
We're beyond red.
All right,
We've
so-
had 135 cases, which is the most we've ever had since the pandemic began.
Okay, so I think we'll hold off on that.
The other thing, Dave, that we should start working on is a way to present the plan so you can have them both on the computer and at the meeting. If there's paper plans on the table, you're not going to see them on the computer. If they're on the computer, you will have to look at the wall behind everybody to be able to observe them. So we should start working on
probably do
that
a
now.
dry run. Right, probably do a dry run without the public there at some point to see how that
Yeah,
would work.
yeah. That's a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah. All right, well, if we're not gonna do it on January 3rd, we certainly have some time to figure that one out, so. Because our next meeting.
You guys can do it. I'm just giving you the facts of what's going on in town hall right now.
I agree with Jen. I think it's only going to spike after the holidays. It'll probably be like
I agree.
250 cases.
Yeah.
It's probably not a wise choice to gather around a table just yet.
Yeah, we've made it this far. We
That's
might as
just my
well.
2 cents. Yeah.
We may as well take it a little farther. We've made it this far and we've been pretty diligent, so
Yeah.
let's stay healthy.
Right on, right on. So that is all I have, other than to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Just for the members of the board, I made a card. I gave it to Jean from all of us today with a certificate for the gift that we got for her. Helping to keep us organized and sane through this tumultuous process here. For certainly covering my back, I appreciate that very, very much. And
it's over and beyond. It's way too much, believe me.
No,
You
it
guys,
Not
I
enough, Gene.
appreciate it, but I
It's not
appreciate it,
enough.
but you didn't have to do that. Yeah, I'm grateful. Thank
You
you.
are very, 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 very much worth it. You are
Yes.
the oil that keeps this machine rolling, so.
well warranted. Yes.
Yeah. So folks, that's all I have. Anybody have anything for the group?
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
I make a
Happy
motion to
holidays.
adjourn.
I
Who
second.
made the motion to adjourn?
I did.
David
Okay, at 8:28. Second.
Flame seconded.
Jerry
Kevin,
says aye.
Kevin, I.
Okay.